Where are you going?
Oh my god!
Just start without him.
I'm never gonna be able to play Elden Ring.
Just be there taunting.
I know, it's taunting me with its smug aura again.
Elden Ring will be there when you get back.
No, it won't.
You'll be fine.
My dog will eat it.
Your whole computer.
Well, no, the whole PlayStation.
Oh yeah.
And then Claudia will eat him.
By the way, do you still have my copy of Miles Morales?
Yeah.
Okay. I was just curious because I
just like to keep it for as long as it takes you to remember to get it, and then forget, and then when you remember it by the third time, that's when I'll actually bring it back.
Yeah, I didn't text you beforehand.
Right.
Because I marked down that Corey has my Arceus, and then I saw, like, Dylan has Miles Morales.
Uh-huh.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, I started to play it for like 30, 40 minutes, and then I went to go start this podcast. Welcome to the effing movie podcast.
That was a really weird segue.
Effing.
What does the effing stand for, boys? Does anybody remember?
No, we can't
Sunday
actually. We
night.
can't.
It's
Sunday fun night, fun fucking
Friday.
It started
Friday
on Friday.
night, yeah.
Friday night. Well, here we are filming on a Sunday. I'm not gonna tell you when exactly, but the weather is okay. So, joke's on them. It's Kentucky. It's always fucking a wild card. It could be fine today and snow tomorrow. Anyway, we're your hosts, Dylan, Mason, Nathan, Price, and we talk about movies. And sometimes we talk about movies that we spin on the wheel. What did we spin this last week?
Well, last movie to come up was The Big Lebowski, which was something I'd put on the wheel, and something that I believe everybody has already seen before.
With very different points and with very different recollections of the movie.
Really? Okay. Well, cool. That's good. That's gonna give us some discussion to be had, I would imagine.
I agree.
So to start off, I'll just kind of give a brief synopsis here. It's pretty simple. Jeff Bridges, the dude, is kind of minding his own business, just living his life, going bowling, being unemployed, and a little bit of trivia. This wasn't in the movie, but the way that he had gotten money was through something to do with Rubik's Cubes, and he had made money off of Rubik's Cubes, but they removed that from the film.
Huh.
In any case, whenever we meet him, he's unemployed, and he ends up getting kind of attacked. Well, not quite attacked. Yeah, no.
Yeah, we could say attacked.
He definitely does.
Yeah, okay, so yeah.
He gets jumped.
He got
in his
he got
apartment.
He
shook
gets
down.
jumped at his apartment
Yeah.
by a bunch of guys that are wanting money. They take his rug. Wait, no, they don't.
No, they piss
that's
on his
later.
rug,
They
yeah.
piss on his rug.
The equivalent of Goon Mason and Goon Price. Go
Yeah. Wait, he's the Asian one, or I am?
Can I be the handsome one?
No, Mason seems like the guy who pees on the carpet.
Okay.
You're the blonde guy, though.
All right.
Yeah,
Clearly.
some-
Oh, definitely.
Duh.
But anyway, it's a bit of a confusion. There's another Lebowski that they were actually trying to harass. And it's basically just like hijinks ensue of things getting more and more out of hand, and more oddball characters go in and out of the story. There's a guy that makes pornography that shows up at one point, and
Treehorn.
yeah, Treehorn. There's a group of nihilists.
Goddamn nihilists!
There's also like some side antagonism by Jesus, the pedophile bowler that they're
Yes.
competing against.
Yeah.
8-year-olds, man.
This movie is a bit of a wild ride of mostly nonsense. Like, none of this stuff, you're just like, these are just things that just keep happening, and it keeps getting worse because of the friends that the dude has around him, making things worse for him.
Namely Walter.
If it weren't for his friends, the dude would have died just fine and wouldn't have had nearly as much trouble as he ends up having.
No.
But he does go on a mission to find out and to get compensation for that rug, which I do think is motive enough. Like, he gets himself into some issues.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like he kind of does, but he could have been pretty well absolved of
True.
most of that, I think.
Yeah.
If they, well, actually, I take that back, because I forget the whole thing where he threw out the ringer. So at one point he's asked by the real Lebowski to pay off some people that had kidnapped his wife.
Yes.
And what's his friend's name again?
Walter.
Walter.
Yeah.
Walter tags along with him and decides that he's going to use a ringer, but turns out they had never actually checked the real bag to see if there was actually money in it to begin with, because he later has this revelation that the other Lebowski was lying about the whole thing just to steal money. But yeah, that's just part of what ends up driving them down into more and more trouble, and ultimately getting attacked by nihilists. And this movie's wild, but it doesn't ever feel super wild. Honestly, it just feels kind of chill, and I think it's because of the main character.
Yeah, can you?
Do you hear that?
Can you
That
stop?
was my throat.
So this movie is best described as just a series of ridiculous and sometimes unfortunate events. But let's get into it. It's a classic. This is actually a modern classic.
Mm-hmm.
This time around, how do we feel about it?
I had first watched this, I think, last year. I thought it was
Really?
recent.
That
Yes,
recently?
yeah. I
Wow.
thought it's a classic. I have to eventually watch it, so I did. I do remember liking it quite a bit, just because it's, I don't know, slapstick. It reminded me of like Dude, Where's My Car? Obviously, well before.
Did it remind you of that because of a specific scene?
Right,
Well,
where they
no,
literally
so
reenact
whenever-
the
Dude,
trailer.
where's your car?
Yes. So whenever you were just, actually describing all of that in the summary, a lot of that same crap happens. Like, it's just this nonsensical from the start. But
Right.
guess what? The more people show up and more, issues happen and more, like, crazy crap just has to unfold. Same thing with Dude, Where's My Car? Obviously,
Yeah,
this movie was way before that. But,
Not too much before. It was like a year or two before, right? 97?
oh, maybe. I thought this
I
movie
don't know
was...
if they were actually that close together.
I thought,
but-
Dude, Where's My Car is like 99, 98, 2000, something like
I
that.
thought it was around the 2000s.
1998 is whenever The Big Lebowski came out.
Okay, so yeah, this
Might
is
have been really
probably.
close, then.
So I think that honestly, it was probably something we don't realize as 8 to 6 or 9 or however old we were at that time.
Yeah.
Was that's probably a very intentional homage in the Dude, Where's My Car
Probably.
trailer to sit there and just be like, hey, isn't that like the scene from the from this?
Yeah.
Probably so.
Fun fact: there's a trivia you didn't think you were gonna get today, but yeah, this movie is hijinks and all that stuff. So I really think that so much of this is, do you get on the ride or do you not get on the ride? And I think it's gonna be one of those movies that I feel like you're either just gonna straight up like it or you're gonna straight up not like it for all those reasons. And I typically lean towards the like it on this one. I think that when you're looking at the character interactions, Walter just being this big angry fuck. Walter to me is the Farva of this movie from Super Troopers. A lot angrier Farva, but like
Yeah.
he serves that similar like heel like I'm
Farva
going to create
was
all the.
terrible though.
Yeah.
Walter.
No.
makes the
Farva's
movie for
fucking
me.
amazing, and Walter
No, he
is
doesn't.
fucking amazing. So there's.
Farva's terrible.
Okay, so you're saying that Walter touches everything in this movie and makes it better.
Yes.
I'm not saying from experience. I'm saying narratively.
Oh, narratively, yeah, he messes everything.
That's what I mean. Is that he's the like, all right, you want the wrecking ball character who comes in and is just blinded by his own like ego and
He
stupidity?
bites a dude's ear off.
It's Farva. Like he is the Farva of this film, whether you want to make that a metaphor or not. But yeah, he's the one who comes in and just kind of creates absolute chaos everywhere it goes because he's just too dumb and angry and just keeps pushing the envelope with that.
Which you get that from his character at the very beginning
Right.
at the bowling alley. You know?
Yeah.
He said,
He starts to pull out a gun.
Yeah, it's about like
Because-
market.
Step over the line, Smokey.
market
If nobody
is-
enforces the rules, what's the goddamn point? Like, yeah. I will say this is probably either my favorite or second favorite John Goodman performance. Like,
I'll agree.
because there is something about John Goodman screaming, "This is what happens when you fuck a stranger!" and the ass. He just starts beating the shit out of a car.
And it's the wrong car.
And it's not even the right car, and the kid who never says a word, just blank face watching it happen is so hilarious to me.
Yeah, as you can kind of tell at this point, this movie is just a long cascade of events. You know, that's why describing it is so difficult. That's why as we discuss it, we're just jumping into individual scenes. It's really hard to
The thread
kind of nail down like a true, consistent
line.
narrative.
Yeah.
Because it's like one thing hops into another, and it's just so you're kind of bouncing along on this ride where, like there'll be things that come back in, like the daughter of the other Lebowski and
Julianne Moore's character.
Julianne Moore. So her being like, "Hey, did you go to the doctor? You should go to the doctor. He's a great doctor. Trust me."
I insist you go to the doctor. And then he goes there for like he got punched in the jaw, and he's like, "Drop your pants."
It's like he was getting assessed for being a stud, basically.
Yeah. So Julianne Moore could hook up with him and have his kid.
Which is really weird since she has the same last name. I feel like that's kind of weird.
I love when he walks into his house and somebody had broken in yet again.
Yeah.
And it turns out to be her, and she's like just in a robe, and you see it fall off, and she's like, "That's my robe." Man."
Yeah.
Well, it's even funnier too that he comes in and trips over that piece of wood that he had nailed down to like prop the.
When he made it, and like the people who broke in the first time just opened it the other way, I lost it.
Yeah, this movie does a lot to sit here and like audibly make me laugh, or just the like, and I think this is really some of Coen Brothers' finest. I don't think that's a hot debate at all, really. As far as being able to tiptoe the line on being able to make it seemingly both ridiculous but like mundanely average, that it's like very believable. Like I believe more or less, except for Walter maybe beating the shit out of this car, but for that character in this world, in like a normal world, I'm like, that's not unbelievable for him to like snap off the like on the ledge with that. We've started with him pulling out a gun, so him doing this is not like a terrible stretch, but it feels like just believable enough where I'm like, if somebody was telling me this story, I would be like, yeah, okay, these people are fucking ridiculous, but I think it's believable. Tara Reid's in this movie.
Yes, she is. I did not
She's
realize
actually-
it until
I know-
the very end.
Who's Tara Reid?
Tara Reid's the wife, Bunny.
Yeah, because
Tara
she doesn't
Reid-
look like her.
Is she a porn star?
No, she's always been an actress, but she's not been necessarily afraid. She was also the main love interest in Van Wilder.
Never seen it.
Yeah,
Oh, well, yeah.
that was
okay,
like her
I see.
biggest role. I'd
Yeah,
say.
that's probably her biggest role in this one.
Sure.
But yeah, no, she's actually kind of fun in this one. I mean, she only got like those couple lines, and she started to look pretty. But typically, I don't know. Tara Reid kind of just she just look more plastic as she goes on. I think she's fallen into like C-list like Sharknado movies or something like that.
She was
Like
definitely in Sharknado 2 or 3.
Yeah, right, and a sequel Sharknado.
Yeah.
So her career has not really projected very well since then.
Yeah.
But I think she's fun as just like, all right, well, she does the whole like look sexy, be the appeal thing, and then later she just drives by in a car and it shows in on the toes and stuff. And I actually really like that scene. I like the scene where it's like the dude gets kicked out of the cab, and then she just drives by, and it's just nothing. Like it doesn't make like a huge scene of it. It doesn't like go back and try to like retroactively explain like what she's been doing this whole time. It's just like, huh, yeah, you're right. She's just like fucking around. Like,
well, it's kind of that moment almost feels like the camera's here watching what's happening to the dude, and then the camera happens to notice, oh shit, that's her.
yeah, right.
Yeah, it's a funny little thing for them to nod at, and they also had the whole scene in the cafeteria kind of place with the nihilists and the cut toe.
Oh yeah.
That could be anybody's toe.
Right.
I get your toe by noon.
Yeah.
I want to like, I know we're just hopping around with it, but I'm just talking. So I want to go to the pretty much end of the movie.
Okay.
With when Donnie dies of a heart attack during this whole exchange, and this is like there's like three moments that typically tend to stick out in this movie, like in my brain, and then like as I'm rewatching it, I'm like, oh yeah, like I know this beat I know the beats now. But the way it ends when they get Donnie's remains, and they're too stingy to get an urn, so they put him in a coffee thing, and him just very so loosely. It's the least like extra Walter is ever this whole movie. You half expect him just to chuck it into the but he just loosely drops it and it just goes all onto the dude.
Yeah.
I watched this movie in high school, and that's the one thing I remember from this movie. The scene where he's doing the ashes.
I swear. So we left this on a spring break one time. We left it in like one of the downstairs like cabins TVs, DVD players, and we just it played the entire time. It looped like the entire time we were there, and I swear to God, I kept walking back into that scene like probably 4 or 5 times, and I kept laughing every time I see it, because just seeing like Jeff Bridges' deadpan face as it's just in his beard, and then Walter turns around, shit, He just starts patting him out. God damn it, Walter! Yeah,
That's the one time where he actually comes across as truly apologetic.
right.
And he gives the dude a hug.
Yeah.
After.
Walter steals this movie. Like, I think we all fairly agree on that.
100%.
Yeah, right.
Steve Buscemi isn't bad either. If
He
would
doesn't
have
do anything.
Exactly.
He
If
just
he
gets
had
yelled
more
at.
lines, you could
He's
be-
there to like annoyingly repeat things.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
And die.
No. Well, you haven't really talked too much. You said that you saw this movie originally in high school, and your perception of it there to now.
And you understood
is-
all the symbolism and deep
Yep.
stark contrast.
And you had passwords.
Right.
Labeled
It
as
was
this.
Why do you
almost-
remember that?
It was
Yeah.
almost
Why don't you?
Inception.
Right.
The Inception number. Yeah, I was a stupid kid, but I didn't like it when I watched it in high school because I was a stupid kid and I didn't like it. But this helped me a lot. Like, I enjoyed it a lot more. I was laughing and stuff the whole time that I was watching it. I loved all the jokes. I thought all the jokes really did land for me. I thought they were written really well. And just the fact that on the offhanded note that he when he walks to the pool and meets Bunny, and like she's like, he's a nihilist or something like that. And then they just run with that the entire movie, and like calls his friends the nihilist and everything.
Yeah.
Just like that one little thing. Like there's so many through lines. Like the joke just carries over and over and just gets expanded on, which I really liked.
Walter being a Jewish and having what's it called?
Shava.
Shabbath, yeah.
Shabbath?
Yeah, on Saturday.
Yeah.
I'm not even supposed to pick up the
I
phone.
think Isn't that Sunday?
Yeah, it's supposed to be Sunday.
But he takes it on Saturday.
But he takes it on
Oh,
Saturday.
okay.
Yeah.
And he has his ex-wife's dog while she's with her boyfriend.
It's a show dog. What do you want me to do? You just leave it pinned up.
He's like, you're not even Jewish. I'm not. What?
You're just supposed to turn in your library card when you're done reading books.
I converted when I met Cynthia.
There is something really extra funny to me about him, like, just taking that whole day off, and then Jesus comes over. Fuck you, motherfucker! What do you think? Oh, I heard you're not doing Saturday!
Then he just takes it to like an 11 or a 12
Right.
all of a sudden.
Like, when you're making Walter seem like the tame character in the
Well,
scene.
and I also love the entire time that Jesus has that, like, regular-looking dude following him
Yeah.
around
Yeah,
that
yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
ever say anything, but just kind of stands
just kinda
slightly
puts-
behind him, like,
Right.
kind of maybe being
Goonin'.
his muscle.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's interesting how bowling is the most important thing for these people.
Right.
Like, there's that one part where the dude is freaking out and he needs help, like, and he calls Walter in an emergency. And the way he gets him to come is the very last thing he says.
I'm
It's
not
like,
bowling.
I'm not going to be on the bowling team anymore if you don't come over right now.
Yeah.
And that's what gets him, is because of the stupid bowling league that they're so happy about.
I totally believe that as like
Yeah.
a late 40s, early 50s, which I am assuming.
Oh,
is
I
what they're-
believe that they would, yeah.
Oh yeah, when you
This is their
start
bread and
whittling
butter.
down your friends and your hobbies, and you get down to that age where it's just
It's
like
less physical.
right, you just have the one thing, and it just happened to be bowling. Like that's golf for like older,
Yeah.
like more affluent white folks, and it's bowling for like this.
I think I could only hope that it's gonna end up being bowling and not golf.
Oh god, if it's golf, kill me with one of the clubs. If I'm 50 and I'm like, yeah, if I
We'll do suicide pact. We'll
Yeah,
all
please.
three stand in a triangle and hit each other
Yeah.
with a golf club at the same time.
Nothing matters. We're nihilists now.
Yeah.
I was actually hoping you guys could. Well, okay, a golf cart won't kill me. It'll just really be annoying to be run over by
Yeah.
it. So
Like that Rick and Morty, a man versus car.
yeah, exactly. Do you want to get into?
We need the
trivia,
question.
Shape question. What else? What else we
Yeah.
got going on here on this wacky show? What is the question?
All right, I got a simple trivia question.
Okay.
All right, one is, could you guess how many times the dude says man?
No.
Or can you guess how many times per minute through the length of the movie that he says man?
I'm going to say no to both of those.
I'm gonna say 74 times he says man.
92.
Nope. Both too low.
I knew it was gonna be too
Too
low.
low?
Still. Yeah. 186 is gonna be too high.
That's
though.
way too high.
That's a little too high.
141.
So, the answer, you were
141?
close at that one.
Ah.
So it's 147 times nearly 1.5 times a minute.
that
That just the dude is saying man.
And he's probably in almost every single scene.
Yeah.
Too.
Well,
Yeah.
do you think that's most of his script? I mean, like, you look at it and it's just
Well,
like, hey,
so
man.
that's another funny thing too is the majority of this movie is not ad-libbed at all, meaning every dude and man was in the script.
Right.
That wasn't just improv. There's only one line that was improv through the whole movie. I gotta see if I can find.
Oh my god, if it's Walter saying "Fuck a stranger in the that'd be amazing.
No, it was something about like a human kumquat.
Oh,
That's what it was.
did that come from Demi Moore's Julianne Moore's character? I feel like it's just like that rich smarty like thing or something.
I tell you what, I got a question. Why are the Coen brothers worshipped as like the next coming of Christ? I've never understood it. Like, as I read a trivia fact that was like Metallica got shit on in this movie, and they're like, we were mentioned in a Coen brothers movie. We thought that was awesome.
Yeah, like
why?
The Coen brothers have a great amount of esteem, and I don't honestly know deep enough why, like which script it was that put them over, right? Like,
I know Fargo is really popular.
Fargo, yeah, but Fargo came out.
It was probably a series of things. Like, it was probably like, this was pretty darn good, that was really good,
Right.
Their next project was like pretty solid, and that's all you need at that point.
Yeah.
Look at what's his name, Jordan Peele.
Yeah, Jordan Peele. Yeah.
I mean, he went into the game with nothing, and well, not nothing, but like his
Right.
first directorial debut.
Sure, but coming out as a director, he came
Yeah.
in like fresh on that one.
And
So
he killed it, and everyone loves him. This
And then-
new movie that he's got coming out, nope.
yeah,
I'll be watching that.
That looks super fun. Yeah.
I'm ready for it.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I think it's just been a series of like successes at some point or another. And to be fair, they also tend to make movies that I think a lot of critics find refreshing in a lot of ways. Because I mean, we go back to like No Country for Old Men or something, which as
Is that
like
them?
yeah, that's them.
Oh,
So
never mind. I get it now.
yeah, all right, there you go. So there is talent and prestige there, but yeah, I mean, if you said like, if they like Big Lebowski is like their big first early hit, this is. I mean, actually, no, this is just it's no longer just a cult classic. I think it's a pretty universalized modern classic at this point. So yeah, I mean that's fair. I guess I get it from that perspective, but I feel like that there's almost like. It doesn't feel accountable to the amount of hype that I feel like we hear at Coen Brothers.
I mean, it gave neckbeards a Halloween costume.
For like ever.
Forever.
Man. No, it just gave like stoners costume, which
Yeah.
and honestly they've been doing that costume. It's just now they've got a character to put it to them.
That's just the thing that they can say that they did whenever they arrive in a house robe and shorts to a party.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, my former therapist actually it looks just like the dude, loves this movie, and like. Honestly models it on a copy paste thing with it, so I was just like, huh. So
Well,
maybe there's a subconscious thing here for me liking this movie as well.
There's cult classic things around this too, like the Dudist church and how you can actually
you could be a Dudist monk, yeah.
Well, so Chris, our friend Chris, Tall Chris, he actually did that. So he's got the registration and everything. He can actually officiate weddings as a Dudist priest.
Yeah.
What? That's awesome.
I feel like Chris needs to smoke way more weed to be officiating that, but I don't know how much weed Chris smokes, so maybe I'm being a little bit like biased on that.
I don't think he really does.
I don't think he does either. Like that was my guess, but maybe I'm just not seeing it. Anyway, so moral of the story. That's the shape of the movie. Trivia along the way.
This movie is very fat.
Oh.
I very much
think
this
he
movie's
said
fat. It does a lot of
He
creative
said it's
indulgences, which I really don't like.
Oh.
There are tons of slow motion, like the girl bouncing on a trampoline all the time. Like, that goes on way too long. And they do it multiple times. And they do, like, the shots of the dude, like, flying through the sky. That took too long. I did kind of like the only one I felt that was warranted was the one where he, like, with the girls with the bowling pins. And I thought that one was really cool because it seemed like they really put some effort into it and some pageantry. And it seemed like it made sense. But a lot of the other ones didn't. And... I don't know,
that was all one big sequence, though, for the most part.
Okay, cut some of it. And the conversation with the nihilists at the breakfast bar wasn't needed. There's just, like, a lot of little things that could be taken out to trim off, I would say, like, at least half an hour of the runtime. This movie's 2 hours, and it does not need to be that long. And that factors into my score a lot. I watched it last night and Kelly was doing something different and she was like, this movie is still going?
Mm-hmm.
So she was getting tired
with
of
a plot line this big.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
With a plot line that could fill less than a
She
third
was-
Started
of
with
a
a
page.
rug, ended with a brief.
She was getting tired of it too, and she wasn't even paying attention because you don't have to. Like the joke still did hit, which is why I'm giving it the score I am. But I still think it is way too fat. Not like Excalibur fat, God forbid, but it's pretty.
like
chubby.
Monty Python fat.
Monty Python's
Yeah.
like an hour 30.
Yeah, it's too fat.
Yeah, it's too fat.
Oh, get out of
It could be 20.
It's,
Yeah,
It could be- it could be a couple
15
skits.
seconds
Yeah,
long.
honestly.
just the
Give
good
it that
ones.
rabbit.
Yeah.
Just the little rabbit eating.
Yeah, there's the Killer Rabbit and the Black Knight always. The Black Knight still gets me.
Yeah.
That's
Come here, I'll nip at your ankles.
So yeah, I mean, I'll agree with Price that it's fat, but I'll say this: it's a fat that I'm in for. I feel like this is
You
the kind
always
of fat
are.
that is,
Yeah.
You always are.
it's good. It's good to have fat on your food. Don't cut the fat off. Sometimes.
It's healthy.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
That's,
Sometimes.
you know, sometimes it's gristle, to be honest. But
Uh,
this time, it's that fat that you want to get a good sear on, and that really just like ups the whole flavor
Oh,
of the dish.
this is pork shoulder fat where it has flavor kind of built into it.
That's
There.
why you
Yeah.
beef fat.
So yeah, though I can see the argument for the whole dream sequence being a little bit much.
Yeah.
I didn't mind it at all. We haven't mentioned that Saddam Hussein
Yeah.
was in this movie
That's a fun trigger fact.
as the guy giving out the bowling shoes, which was hilarious.
Just for no reason.
For
Right.
no reason, but
Was
Yeah.
a fan.
I'm a fan of pretty much every scene of this movie. There's
Uh-oh.
nothing about it that
Uh-oh!
It's like, where is it? Where is it?
Where is it?
I don't know if you get your hands off that Pikachu, that's gonna get us copyrighted. But
I'm loving this Pikachu.
yeah, get it out of here.
I
Nintendo's
need a
gonna-
duck one next, though.
Oh well.
what I'm curious about is if we're going to be able to hear Price whenever this finishes, because there's been moments where Pikachu
Has been in front of you. Yeah.
We don't really like to hear Price say
That's
that.
fine.
Well,
Well,
we watch.
We'll just roughly dub it in.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm Price,
Well,
I'm really smart.
yeah, exactly.
All right.
Yeah, this. I don't want to agree, but this movie is an indulgent chubby. I wouldn't go as far as to say fat.
It's good to
has
have around.
it has the Tarantino problem of having some scenes that go on a little bit too long, but it doesn't have the Tarantino problem doing it all of the time. Where Tarantino, it feels like most of his scenes are about 3 to 4 minutes too long. This one just has a couple of segments. The montage dream scene does go on for a little longer. The girl bouncing on a trampoline, I was fine with. I like boobs.
Well, I do too, obviously. I'm
Sure.
just saying, like...
But there wasn't a follow-up with Dong, so I will reflect that in my score.
And this is a movie
that should have hung Dong.
This movie definitely could have and should have,
Yes.
especially in that trampoline scene. That would have been hilarious.
Yeah, I think it would have been really funny to have. I think
Just like slow-mo trampling Dong.
Yeah,
that
I think
would've
it goes
been
from the
pretty
girl, and then like you throw the guy, and it's Dong.
Side note, Dylan, if you want really quality, I've been watching a show called Marvelous Miss Maisel with Kelly.
Uh-huh.
There's only been one pair of boobs to be
Oh
shown.
no, I do know that clip.
But also,
Yeah, she's got
there's
good boobs.
there's only I've seen a dong in that show.
Oh, good for
So
them.
they show like it's a 1-to-1 ratio,
Oh.
which
You
I
also
have
just watch
never seen.
Euphoria and watch an equal ratio of
I've
everything.
started
too.
to watch-
I've
Is there
already
dong
seen
in
Euphoria because I get on Twitter. I mean, I've pretty much seen it.
Yeah, I've got all the
already.
Yeah, I've actually started to come back to that one. But anyway, we'll talk about that off topic or off air with that. So an indulgent fat. Yeah, there's some scenes that can be trimmed down. But overall, it doesn't push so fat that I'm like cutting whole chunks of scenes or cutting a whole 30 minutes. I definitely think I probably cut 10 to 15. I'd cut, and that's at the top end of what I'd be cutting. So I'm cutting half of what I think Price would think he would cut with it. But it's a little chubby. But it's fun indulgent. I'm with Nathan on this one where the times where they are indulging, it more often feels like a benefit to the movie's fun, and the ride of it less so than a detriment to like me looking at runtime and being like, come on. So yeah, that's my thoughts.
I'm gonna agree with everything that Price said. It's very, very fat.
This is a weird fatty
I
statement.
know. It's strange. I think a lot of not the cut scenes, but like whenever he, what did he take, like peyote or something? Whenever he had that dream sequence.
When he's in the dream sequence, that's...
I think so.
It was
Yeah.
something.
I forget what he takes.
That entire scene I didn't like much. I do think that like, it's every interaction, well maybe not every interaction, but like a lot of them do go on for way too long. But yeah, for everything that Price basically mentioned, it was just, could have done without quite a bit. That 30 minutes, you might be onto something. You could probably take quite a bit out.
I wonder if it's a generational thing. I wonder if there's an age thing to be in play here, because it's...
Well,
we're not that different in
well,
age.
no,
No, but
we're
we're not that different in age. But
Alright,
it's the difference between growing up with SpongeBob as your main cartoon
Oh my
and
God.
growing up watching SpongeBob with your brother or younger sister in the cartoon with it.
alright, here's the thing.
I'm not following.
Oh.
Do you guys
I'll
think
get
that,
into it
like,
later.
Superbad should be, like, 2 hours and 5 minutes long?
That movie's
No.
2 hours?
No, I'm just saying, do you think it should be?
No.
But is it?
Exactly. No, it's probably not.
Okay. I was
That's
like,
what I'm
wait.
saying.
what's that?
Probably not.
Yeah.
Do you
I
think
thought you were
Dude
making
Where's-
a good point here.
Do
Dude,
you
Where's
think
My
that Dude,
Car?
Where's My Car or Pineapple Express or any of those, like,
Should be
stoner
2 hour
comedies are 2 hours long?
No, I'll admit.
No, they're not.
I'll admit that.
So that's why this movie is way too fucking long.
But this movie is doing more than just doing a stoner comedy.
No,
though.
it's not.
Yes, it is. I disagree with
It's
that.
not.
It is
I
not
dis-
doing anything more than a stoner comedy where they keep bumping into people and the
No.
stakes get
no.
strangely higher.
Pineapple Express.
I would go as far as to say
Pineapple Express.
It's the same.
Perfect comparison.
it's no.
Yes.
I think
it
Dude, Where's
is.
My Car is
Nah.
even better, but yes, it's all just
Dude,
the
Where My Car is
same.
definitely not better. I like that movie, but I'll go to bad.
I think he's saying better comparison.
Yeah.
Oh, better
Yeah,
comparison.
yeah,
Yeah, okay,
not
yeah,
better
okay,
movie.
okay. I
Yeah,
meant
no,
that.
it's definitely a better comparison. Yeah.
No, I'm definitely.
I want to grind these out in the scores. I want to grind some of these slots out in the scores.
Let's do
Yeah, we're in scores now, right? Yeah. Okay.
Sure.
Price, go ahead.
All right, I've been designated to go first, and I will say my score.
With this power,
It indulges itself too much, but not in a way I like. Tarantino does that, but I enjoy his dialogue more, I guess, and
You
the
got
way
feet.
and the way he and the way he paces his
Yeah.
story. I feel like when his dialogue's going, like there's really a lot going on within his talking, but I don't want to compare them because they're very different movies. But I can't believe I'm agreeing with Mason so much. But he's right. It's a stoner comedy. It doesn't need to be this long. But it also makes me laugh a lot. Like, I was audibly laughing a lot. There were some really good lines. Like, I know it's a classic. Like, that rope really tied the room together. And they just said that all the time. I mean, there's so many good lines in this movie. But I don't really want to rewatch it because it's too long. It's way too long. But I still laughed. So I'm going to give it a 6. I still enjoyed my time with it. Definitely better than average. But it was too long and meandered too much in my
It's
opinion.
so silly that 6 is only like just barely above average.
I know, right?
Like that doesn't sound
Well, I
like
mean,
average.
5
to me.
would be
Yeah.
average.
That sounds so bad.
5 is average.
Oh, that sounds worse.
Get it away from me. I don't want to touch it.
These two are just hung up on like school scoring
I
systems.
know. We've been
Mason.
doing this for years. now,
They
and we
have
know that.
scorched us in the
Yeah,
past.
I know. Mason, go ahead.
Also, I'm with Bryce again. I'm giving it a 6. I think that this movie has a right audience, and I think it's fine. It's just, whenever you're watching it, yeah, you can get these laughs and you can remember all these lines. I'll agree, Walter is great. But the dude himself was not my favorite, and for him to be in basically every single scene. I didn't really like Julianne Moore's character, but I also like Julianne Moore in serious roles. So it's just one of these, like you keep throwing a lot of these characters at me that I'm not exactly vibing with. Not that this is a bad movie. I remember a lot of things from it. I love how much bowling there is actually in this movie.
Yeah.
It is like the foundation. It is
Yeah.
like it's the home sweet home of this movie.
They
I'm
all
surprised you
go
don't
back.
start to go bowling after watching
Yeah,
this movie.
is it Sam
Yeah.
Shepard? Is that who's at the end?
Yeah, the cowboy.
Sam
Yeah.
Elliott.
Sam Elliott, that's
There
it.
you go.
The stranger. He was pointless too. That awful.
I will
Totally
say
pointless.
I'll write him
But
out.
everything
yeah.
in this movie was pointless, like Saddam Hussein or whatever.
that was just a funny aside.
But it was
It
pointless.
Yeah.
didn't take
Like,
up your time.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Sam Elliott takes up your time.
It does.
In a jarring
I could
way.
argue he does take up a little too much because he also is the intro, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of like that he's in there. I think it's just this weird, odd thing that breaks out something that's otherwise a relatively grounded and realistic movie, but he just doesn't feel real. He feels like he's a narrator that's talking with the character almost.
And the narration goes on way too long. That's another thing.
Did you guys ever watch the movie Rubber?
Yeah, the tire.
Yeah, you remember at the
Yeah.
very
Yes.
beginning, the guy just walks out with a cup of water, and it's like everything that happens in this movie is blah 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 blah. Nothing is really necessary, blah blah blah. And then as he's walking away, he just dumps the water out. Like that's kind of what the Sam Elliott was at the end of this movie.
I don't remember that because
Anyways.
all I remember is that stupid bouncing sound.
Yeah.
For
It was
And when
like
it starts
the
blowing
first,
people up,
like,
it
2
just starts.
Yeah, so 6 for me.
I wish I'd got stoned and watched better movies whenever I was in college. Because the fact that I've seen that movie and Things Killing and a couple of these other ones.
You saw Thanksgiving before?
Yeah, I've told you this before.
Yeah, you were
I
the
think
only two.
everybody had.
Oh, they
Yeah,
did.
thanks,
Oh,
Kelly.
I-
Yeah, but
Well, not me.
Not me.
yeah, not Mason.
He watches good films.
Yeah.
I give this a 7.5. I almost want to curve it to an 8. I really do, but Sam Elliott doesn't really do it for me on rewatches with this one. This is a modern classic. I do still laugh every time. And yes, I guess you could put the label stoner comedy on that, and that wouldn't be disingenuous. But when it comes to being like comparing to other stoner comedies, it's clearly got a lot more ambition going on. Like, this movie wants to be a real movie, where Dude, Where's My Car wants to be a bunch of... It wants to do that comedy thing where you just wrote jokes, and they're throwing plot together to make, like, the context make sense, right? And I feel like that's true for a lot of stoner comedies. And I say that liking stoner comedies from time to time. Super Troopers is a stoner comedy with...
Yeah.
Kind of in the same camp as Big Lebowski, where they're trying to have a movie... Like, there's a movie and a plot first, and is the plot the most important thing? No. But they incorporate it well within to make the jokes feel organic and didn't feel like the joke got wrote and then they were like scrambling to make the thing make sense afterwards.
I feel like this was written in the sense of they wrote the story and then tried to create situational comedy out of
Insane
right,
circumstances.
like
yeah.
I could legitimately see where they're like, okay, here's a rough idea, and then as they started doing it or like acting it out, then they started putting
this
more
is
of
where
it.
we need to bring in these
Right,
guys.
right.
This is, yeah.
So I think that's maybe it's just two different camps of like the writing or presentation of like a stoner comedy, which is so interesting. Like it sounds like I'm gonna write a thesis on it or something. Like, stoner comedies and why they're better than you think they are. But anyway, regardless, I have a lot of fun with this movie. I still laugh every time I watch it. There's still plenty of scenes with it that I think are fun and great. The only reason I don't think I put it over to an 8 is just that it doesn't do anything extra or more or spectacular other than being just a solid comedy. Objectively, that could be enough, but it doesn't have like a character that I am like, you know, constantly quoting. Like other than like, this is what happens when you fuck a stranger in the ass, because that's funny. But it does, like, that's probably like the biggest pull for me, and then like all the rest is just hey man, hey dudes and stuff like that. And maybe because of just growing up around stoner people, like that doesn't seem jarring to me.
Just too fluid.
Right, but like whenever people like laugh at the dude or something like that, I'm like, God, I know that's like 7 of my cousins. I don't want to. Like that doesn't be the most entertaining for me. So it feels like home. It's home comedy for me. So, but it doesn't do anything more to push me into like an 8.
Okay, well,
Here's the button.
Where is the button?
Well,
you know, that's a good question. I'm not sure, but I
We
don't
don't
need
need
it
it.
today,
He doesn't
to
need
be
it.
honest.
Aw, damn.
it's an 8.5.
I
It's a 10.
you,
It is an 8 now. Yeah.
yeah,
Spoiler.
it's an 8.5.
I knew where you were going to land on this one.
I really enjoy this film. I think all the jokes hit really well. It's one of those ones that is not something that wears itself out for me, which I feel like a lot of comedies do, and I don't know why this one's really different. I think just the like John Goodman's character and all the ridiculousness of a situation born out of people being ridiculous.
Yeah, rage. And, yeah.
It's
stupidity and rage. It's some of the most basic human male instincts that are just defined in this.
It's just funny, and it stays funny, and the one-liners aren't overplayed, which is
That's great.
a surprising and great thing to see, because it's just the kind of thing that you could see, you know, hitting in the same way that Monty Python would almost. I mean, this is a very popular film, but the jokes from it don't really get hit quite as often in pop culture, so it's not worn out. So yeah, I mean that's how I feel about it. Let's see what the rest of the internet and critics thought.
Well, it's Coen Brothers, so the critics said that this is a perfect
Oh,
movie.
this is gonna be
Yeah.
a 94 from critics, easy. I can guarantee
Yeah,
it.
you might think that, but
Uh-oh.
no.
Uh-oh. Stoner comedy still.
Yeah.
So critics do not like that. But...
So we've got a 8.1 on IMDb, 83% on Rotten Tomatoes, and 71% on Metacritic.
Hey. Alright. Well,
So critics leaning towards like the 7 whenever they probably have fun with it, but didn't love
Yeah.
it. But yeah, I mean that makes sense.
it's
Like
got legs, but not
Right.
marathon legs.
I guess if you're gonna chain it to like it being a part of like a comedy genre, those are hard pushes anyway on the critic side. But generally accepted and enjoyed by people.
Well, and
83.
it's actually much higher for the audience score.
Right,
Audiences
yeah, that makes
give it
sense.
a 93.
That makes complete sense. Like, I would say that most people who have watched this don't go to the way to be like, I hated this movie and I would never rewatch it. They watch this and probably at least have something funny to say, or at least usually have a laugh about it.
Oh yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, the 7% of people that didn't like it. What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
How could you not have liked this movie?
Show yourself.
How could you have had a negative opinion? Like, maybe have a neutral to slightly warm opinion, but negative?
Yeah, like somebody was writing a paper about like the male psychology and how we're driven to anger, and then Walter just upsets them to the point where like, this is exactly what I'm talking about. We keep perpetuating this name. We're glorifying anger, and they threw the paper out, and then they got angry, and then they fuck this movie, and they went in right afterwards with it. That's my pet theory. But with all the scores and stuff out of the way, we've got a big juicy wheel.
I want to spin it this time.
Oh,
Alright.
but you always spin it poorly, and you always get bad stuff.
Let
Pikachu spin it.
You do spin it poorly.
Here you go. I am Pikachu, and I'm spinning.
Oh, this is
I choose you.
Nathan shook his head.
Blumhouse Productions
Ew.
is now on the list.
You wanted Split or Glass or something.
Oh yeah, I think it was Glass.
Yeah, it was.
It was the
You
second
said
one.
Glass because you said that was the one. Wait, was that the one you didn't see? Or
No, Glass is the third one.
Yeah.
That I have not seen.
Yeah, if you want to
Yeah,
talk about
that's the third.
Unbreakable or whatever it is.
Yeah,
or
technically
Unbroken.
Unbreakable.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've seen that one, but yeah, I'm down to let's do some Glass.
Let's do.
You know Split's a better movie, right?
I'm sure.
That's what we hear.
I
You've not
like-
seen it?
I watched Split.
Oh, okay,
I watched
good.
Split like a month ago.
Okay, good.
Yeah, we rewatched it. Insidious.
Let's grab the trailer and.
Oh, Get Out.
Okay, that's what's
I've seen that, but I
They
really
produced
like that.
it. Yeah.
Are we counting that? But I'm still doing.
I would
Glass.
count it. I mean, it's
Okay.
under the Blumhouse production. Well, because again, Blumhouse production, they produced it, so.
Yeah, everything else is just looks like not great.
It's like
horror
second
movies.
grade, like horror.
Right. Like
Second grade
there's a
horror.
lot of, well,
Halloween is on there.
Halloween
See
in that.
what I mean?
Hey,
Yeah.
is Invisible Man for Blumhouse?
I feel like it was, yeah.
I feel like it was.
The new one,
Yeah, I heard really good things about that
The
one.
Purges too.
Honestly, put on the Purges. Guilty pleasures.
Especially the second one.
Paranormal
Yeah.
Activity has them. I didn't know they were on there.
Oh man, those would be a good one.
Oh,
Hey, her name is Sarah Paulson.
it's not Robert.
No, I rewatched Fight Club the other night actually.
Yeah.
It was Thursday before Elden Ring dropped.
Is she on there?
Oh, Sarah Paulson? No, Robert Paul.
Robert was.
Robert Paulson was the name that everybody ate because the guy. Died.
Oh, that's
His
right,
name
yeah.
is Robert.
Robert
Wasn't that
Paulson.
Meatloaf?
Yeah,
Meatloaf.
he's dead.
He is. Passed away just like recently.
Yeah, COVID.
Specialize in those individuals who believe they are superheroes.
It feels like there should be a laugh track here, right?
Yeah.
James McAvoy crushes this. Like,
He's so good.
he's fantastic in Split.
I've never seen this.
You ever seen any of those?
Did you see Split though?
No.
Oh man, Split's pretty solid.
Unbreakable wasn't bad either.
I don't know if I watched Unbreakable actually.
That was actually at the end of Get Out. Or Split.
You believe you are a protector.
My name is Patricia.
I have no question. There are 24 identities
I'm Mary Reynolds. Senor, we almost got you, bro.
that live in that body with you.
They're coming any minute now for you guys.
But what I am questioning is your belief that you are something more than human.
And yet, it is true.
The Inception thing.
I forgot this was M. Night Shyamalan.
Mm-hmm.
Extraordinary IQ.
Yeah, everybody was like hot back on him again after Split, and also it has our girl ATJ Anya Taylor. Everybody loves her. She's everything.
Yeah, she can do no wrong.
I haven't seen anything that's made me like think she's that great.
She's the witch.
Pretty.
The Vivitch.
The witch.
Yeah. She's just universally been pretty good. I haven't seen anything where she's been like over the top
She's the
fantastic.
new Princess Peach.
Yeah.
Is there enough villain comics that a comic book shop would have a heroes and villains side?
Yeah. Nowadays, yeah. I mean, there's enough like Suicide Squad like content where the villains have like a spotlight.
Ready. What do you call you, sir? First name, Mr. Last name, Class.
Drop the mystery.
Drop the miss.
Yeah, I already beat you. Get out of here, Justin Timberlake, but slower. Yeah, so we're watching Glass, the trailer. The way, whenever he lunges and he's like running on all fours, that was me and Nathan going
to Elden Ring.
Going to play Elden Ring. Our obligations were done just lunging at it. But, yeah, we got Glass coming up. We got M. Night Shyamalan's third sequel to whatever, his superhero movies. But kind of not really. More supervillain movies, I suppose. Anyway, if you like the content, let us know in the comments below. If you're that 7% that's like, I think this movie fucking sucks, DM Nathan directly. You can. He's not on social media, but you can let him know in the comments below, or you can give him the big old dislike. But you can't. You have to comment it now. So just give us a thumbs up and then say thumbs up, but actually it's a dislike, so we know the difference.
Yeah.
Just let us know.
Yeah. Make sure to hit the bell. Make sure to hit the bell so you know whenever we put up these videos. Yeah, we'll get them harder later. We always do. And make sure to tune in next week for Glass. He's fragile. It's Samuel L. Jackson. What's not to love? Samuel L. Jackson. Yeah, Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah, that's him.
Okay. I don't know why I was like,
He
wait.
looks different.
I know. With the hair, I'm like, wait, is it actually Morgan Freeman?
Frizzy.
Did I mess that up? Oh.
We got another Samuel Jackson movie that'll never get picked on the wheel, and that is Kingsman.